On the Bridge 99 FM, time for the public eye with the open mind. Thanks so much for joining us. Massive Jamaican here and abroad. Welcome wherever you are. Whether you're listening after the fact, whether you're tuning in to the program today, we welcome you to the only station that really checks out for the diaspora, the Jamaican lovers, wherever they are, all over the world. I'm Ronnie Thwaites. The Honorable Pearnel Charles Sr. is my co-host on the public eye. We welcome you to the Bridge 99.13579 on the FM dial, and in a few minutes we'll be connecting with Irwine Clare on our sister station Irie Jam Radio in New York for the Global Connection Hour. But remember, you can watch us live stream www.thebridge99fm.com wherever you are. And follow us on Instagram at The Bridge 99 FM and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Bridge 99 FM. Previous episodes of the show, be our guest, you're welcome. Keep up with all the happenings in Jamaica by downloading the Bridge 99 FM app in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. And the Global Connection today, Steve McDonald, friend of the program, president and founder of Yaad Market in Toronto, joins us for a discussion about Jamaica's agricultural sector. He says, and he's reporting good ground, that we are lagging behind as agro-processors, and many challenges are being faced by those who purvey Jamaican produce abroad in keeping their share of the market. Later on, Dennis Chung, who is a well-known commentator and chartered accountant, secretary of the Football Federation, now joins us to talk about I'm trying to use modest adjectives, the unexpectedly high increases that have been offered to elected officials. You should see Pearnel. You must watch his face on the internet. My goodness, unexpectedly high increases to parliamentarians and local government officers in Jamaica yesterday. It's all here on the public eye. We talk it straight on the Bridge 99 FM. Mr. Charles, we're going to save the parliamentarian things until later. When Dennis
no, but that's what to ask you. Yeah. Are you serious when you say that the increase is high?
Yes, I am. Nobody, I think you will agree with me, that nobody was more vocal about increases and better terms for elected officials during the parliament that you presided over than I.
Right.
And we had debates on it,
yes,
and so on.
And nothing happened.
And nothing happened.
And the year before, nothing happened.
And the year before
and the
that.
day when you leave your office as a top attorney, a scholar, and come, you're getting less than even the people in the Integrity Commission.
Sure.
And
so there's room for increase. The question that we're going to take up with Dennis Chung later is about the level of increase and the comparability and what it says about the society.
Well, before you get there with Dennis, let me tell you that and I'm using you as an example because you're one of the top attorneys, trained in both top-class countries, America and Britain. And if you tell me that you couldn't get 3 cases in the first 3 or 4 months, not only to represent somebody in court, but in business, that make more than the salary you get for the year. So, and when you said that to somebody, they said, so why are you in there?
Well,
and you know what it has done?
Yes.
It has allowed a lot of people to believe that the only reason we stay there is because we're thieves.
Sure. We
have something thieving, robbing, because they know you could never.
No.
Prime Minister is getting $7 million, and he has a constituency that he goes, and everybody's saying they want to go to school. They have a medical bill.
Well, that's
they have
his
marketing.
His salary is different from that, but it really isn't, as you and
$7
I know.
$7 million?
No.
Jamaican dollar?
No, I'm not defending that. But it is important that people know. How many times have I been told that when you are in public life, if you come out poor, you're a fool, and if you come out rich, you're a thief.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the dilemma is there, but the question is proportionality. And that really is a big issue. And what kind of political impact this is going to have, and what kind of effort it's going to reverberate in the entire society.
But let's go look further, Ronnie. The civil servants got a raise that they never had.
Yeah,
they've never had that size of raise before.
That was so.
In other words, under this Minister of Finance, without raising current taxes, something has happened in the economy that he's able to give a better, a more reasonable salary to a certain sector of the country. The police, the teachers, the politicians. Well, your concern is maybe you get too much. Why don't you get back? Contribute to Bustamante Hospital.
You really think so?
I heard I heard somebody saying this teenage rush down at KPH. Contributed to them, man. Well, if it's too much, and I tell you, the politics is still a problem because none of them, not even what they're getting now, because most of our current group of parliamentarians are graduates of university, big jobs, lawyers, and they can't continue.
Well, let me make something clear. I lost money by going to Parliament, and you must have too.
Well, like me, you know that.
No, I know. And there's absolutely no doubt, and we can discuss it. Where we seem to be heading on to it now. So let's just get the preliminaries and take up later with Dennis on other issues, other aspects of it. There was no doubt that when I retired from the cabinet, when the government changed in 2016, my pay was somewhere in the region of 3.6 million. Yes. The present incumbent at the Ministry of Education is going to be getting multiples of that, 4 or 5. Yes. The figures are misleading in a way because the allowances. The value of what they get now and the removal of allowances. Depends what allowances they're removing.
Yes.
Because and so we've been told about housing and telephone. For some of us, those weren't material.
Okay. I don't know for you, but when I went and told my wife that we were going to get
30,000 a month for
we were going to get a house, she said, I'm not leaving my house.
No.
We were going to get a gardener. She said, I don't want your gardener.
No.
And a helper for the 30 years, right? So, and when you said this to someone, I said, you must get something somewhere else. And it gives people the impression that the only reason why you leave your thing and go there is not to help them, but to find a way to help yourself, which is false.
That has been deepened by what happened yesterday. Irwine Clare of Irie Jam, welcome to the Global Connection.
Indeed. I had to preface your dialogue just now with our listeners here to let them know what you're talking about, these increases that our elected officials received or was announced yesterday. So I gather that's food for fodder, and gather it has taken on a life of its own, gentlemen.
It has. It has eclipsed some other things that I really wanted to talk about, because we're going to be talking with Dennis Chung about exactly that later on, and hope you can listen in if you're not with us for the full period.
Yes.
One of the other things, to switch gears, that struck me this week was a visit of the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, and the highlight that he brought to the really desperate, cruel situation in Haiti.
Yes.
Now, I have to ask, why is Haiti the way it is? How do we help them, if at all? And how do we avoid a similar predicament? Irwine Clare, when you stand up beside a Haitian in Queens, New York, no one knows the difference.
No.
Okay.
And what's interesting here now, and as I say, welcome and good day to your listeners.
Thank you.
Welcome you to here in New York.
Yes.
Is to say that the United Nations track record on Haiti is also a spotty one. And, it is be very interesting now to see what type of resolve or what type of a combination or high blend or a mixture to deal with what's taking place in Haiti. There doesn't seem to be any one situation that will resolve their issues, because even within the Haitian community, there are disparate opinions. It's not a united situation. They're united around the fact that something has to change. It has to change, but as far as the process goes, one doesn't get the sense that there's a united approach to that.
Why not? Is it racist? Is it based on economic considerations?
Yeah, a combination.
What is there?
I sense a combination, Ronnie. The power struggles that has resulted in Haiti over the years have not demonstrated that democracy can work there because of just how situations are set. We have heard the contributions of the Clinton, negative and positive, as I mentioned just now, the United Nations. Haitian themselves, even here, like I said, in the diaspora, there is not a united front. And yes, there's a stark situations when you look at it. Sometimes you see the difference, those who consider themselves petit bourgeois as opposed to the persons who are more economically challenged. And we see also what's taking place with the Haitians in the DR and the relationship there at the border, and even with Haitians in DR themselves.
So how does the Caribbean distinguish itself as a place of equity and freedom, etc., with this festering wound of Haiti? It's a serious thing, and we are closest.
But could I tell you what is bothering me?
Sure.
And I think I mentioned this to you from last year.
Tell me.
That as a political science student, I look at the politics of Haiti, and I can see that the Haitians and the Jamaicans are on the same highway. Same highway. You look what is happening in our own country. Look at the gang. You see what is happening? They are now turning on the gangs, catch them and burn them. And I'm telling you, and not everybody is going to be pleased to hear that I am very comfortable. Am I? No, I'm not. But I want to congratulate some of the policemen in what they're doing to keep the thing under control, because we are heading in the same direction of killing one another, have the high-powered rifle, get it. We can buy the rifle, we can buy food. We can buy the rifle, we can send the children to school. We can buy the rifle and the guns. Something, we are on the same highway, heading in the same direction. And unless a force come and stop us, you're going to be saying Haiti and Jamaica.
But
go ahead, Irwine.
And profound statement, Mr. Charles. Mm-hmm. And many fingers will point to our political directorate. Obviously, people are looking for leadership. Leadership seem to have avoided helping Haitians. I mean, people get into power and not do the right thing, and I think it's not just as simplistic as that. There are other factors, but that has been there has been a significant vacuum in the whole leadership, and those with the governance and the opportunity to lead has seemed to have led Haiti astray.
Yeah, well, I want to.
Irwine, let me take into your brain, your historical brain. You remember from where Haiti is coming? Mm-hmm. From a one-man dictator.
Yeah, but
anytime you look like a gangster, them kill you.
Yeah, but further than that, further than that, Haiti set the course of democracy for the Western Hemisphere.
And was raped by France, to whom they have been paying ransom for more than 100 years.
Right.
So that's all there. But I have to ask the question in relation to if it's applicable in Haiti, and it's certainly in Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean where our audience may come from. What are we doing to look at the fundamental issues why you have this social breakdown? What is happening? If you have illiterates on the street, if you have people who have nothing to do, if you have people who do not trust government or the security forces and
who have access to,
then you are likely to have indeed the progress to disorder and chaos that Honorable Peace speaks about. No, I am very, very concerned that we are not dealing with those issues sufficiently.
In which case, we're not learning.
Well, Irwine, I've said this, that when you talk about Jamaica and other Caribbean islands, but let's deal with Jamaica now. Until we have a united force that sees the thing the way Rani and myself can sit and look at it and take a decision, non-political, not searching for vote, and until we can do that, we're going to have a problem.
But one of the good things with this discussion here on the bridge, where we have the diaspora and people at home on the same platform here, and one of the things that comes up to me, and even while I was in Barbados, somebody from Jamaica mentioned it to us, that hearing both you gentlemen being able to kumbaya, to agree, yes. Why your other peers, even our good friend we had on last week, the affable Minister of Tourism, why people of that sort of inkling and on both sides are not copying, are not realizing that there's opportunity to do what you just said just now, Mr. Charles?
Because the route to power is not in the lane that Rani and me driving now. You have to set one set of the people as a gang against the other in order to get to the throne. Unless you do something about the politics that puts you in charge, you are going to have this problem. And you're going to have not more than one time a third force tried to come up in Jamaica, even a fourth force tried to come up in Jamaica. And still we have a situation where we're not getting anywhere with it because we're not uniting to destroy the enemy that is coming on us.
Gentlemen, we're coming up on a break in about 2 minutes or so, and I just wanted to close off on our trip to Barbados last week. Very interesting experience. And Ron, you might recall the last time that we had a very historical broadcast out of Bridgetown, Barbados, several years ago, when Clinton came to the heads of government meeting, where we broadcast on another radio station in Jamaica and back into New York, which is a historical thing.
It was.
All right, and in fact, kudos and lots of greetings came from one Mr. Mikey White.
Oh, great!
Yes.
My goodness.
Yes, he's there. In talking to a few Jamaicans who now reside in Barbados, and I asked them why Barbados and not Jamaica, and the thing that came up many times was peace of mind, and they said it was a significant transition, but they have a general sense of safety. And they're working. That spoke to them about opportunities. And one of the things I noticed, that wherever Jamaicans go, we find means to, and I use the term hustle, but to be entrepreneurial and to do things probably out of the norm and create a living for themselves. And they yearn to be back home, but they're just concerned that it's not the environment in which to bring their families up.
Well, I'm simplistic. That sense of peace may be elusive, but I believe it could be very far advanced. Certainly in City Kingston, which is not by any means the only place of distress and crime, no. But 5,000 jobs and a level of committee between the two major political parties could change the scene in a matter of 10 months.
Yes.
But let me jump on this job business, because my heart shook me up a while ago. In my constituency, I identified 4 members of the gang, and I brought them to my office. And I said, gentlemen, I cannot live with this. I can't make Ronnie Thwaites see a town of you that I have gang in here. So guess what? Let's deal with it right here. I am prepared to give each of you $15,000 a week.
And then turn you down.
For a period of time. I don't promise you I can do it for your life. You know what the man said to me? Boss, 15,000, I want the night, that's enough.
Sure.
I want night dinner, that's enough.
But let me ask you this,
them walk out the office.
Yes, so I would deal with them a different way.
But you said you'd offer them what? To do what?
To work.
To work, right?
No.
To what?
I was prepared to go to several ends and from my own, just to bring them into a situation where we can try and change them,
to get them
talk to them, give them a different breath.
But I don't know, and maybe, Mr. Charles, I don't know, and I'm not the
maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, maybe I'm the social science, but I don't know if that would be the way to go, because that is the other thing that breeds this whole thing of entitlement and expectation from a system that you should get and not give. I'm
a Calvinist, you see. Work is not optional. If work is available, you must do it. And if you don't do it, then you are marked in my book for careful scrutiny, because it's likely that you're going to turn to be a predator of somebody else's, the fruit of somebody else's.
And it meets you around the corner. Or it meets me around the corner.
But that is not what we're doing now. What we're doing is just net fishing and repressing everybody, and then after we think we're righteous and have done hard things, we let all of them go, and you have 3% prosecution of the 5,000 people who you take in. What madness! What superficial nonsense is being carried out in the name of national security?
Well, listen, we're up on a global break,
and we are. So this is a Global Connection Hour on the feisty, truthful, compassionate public eye on the Bridge 99 FM. We soon come. Steve McDonald of Yaad Market joins us.
We welcome you back, of course, to the Global Connection. In this connection, Irie Jam links up with, of course, the Bridge 99 FM in Jamaica, notably Ronnie Thwaites and Pearnel Charles in the public eye.
Happy to be with you. Happy to connect with our friends abroad. And welcome to Steve McDonald of Yaad Market in Toronto.
Good afternoon to all of you.
You're all welcome. My goodness, can you imagine international exposure? Steve McDonald, are you getting enough produce from the Caribbean, from Jamaica specifically, to offer to all of your outlets in Canada?
I would say no, and also there are some other issues that are going on. And there was a news article, I think was Grace Kennedy, someone from Grace Kennedy, that spoke to some of the challenges in the marketplace, which I think is certainly necessary to be addressed in terms of the soil type, and I'm happy in terms of these soil type and also market information. I'm happy that these items are actually being brought to the fore for discussion by a company with the stature of Grace, and then I hope it will be taken seriously, because there is certainly a lot of opportunity in the diaspora for our agricultural produce, but we're falling short. Like I can tell you right now, the place that I buy my red pea soup from, they're no longer putting yellow yam in there. It's now a yam from Africa because of the price that it's being sold for. And I just heard, I think last week, and it may have been in the parliament, where they said that the yam production export has fallen. And so I can see that direct relationship in the stores, and also from a consumption perspective.
You know, Ronnie, one of the things that David Crum Ewan mentioned in this, and I infer from this, was that it would appear that as a result of Jamaican farmers and our mechanisms not stepping up on using better fertilizers, pesticides, etc., and even technology, that is a major contributor or lagging in the industry as far as food processing is concerned, and our production in the field. So that is something that I have to believe that policymakers could quickly address.
Irwin, let me throw something at you. You're a Jamaican. All of us are Jamaicans. Yam is not every week, every month, every quarter production. Yam take months to come. What we are lacking in is massive investment by the leaders of the storehouses that used to import, right? The little farmer alone cannot produce yam in Trelawney, St. Mary, and Centon to supply this massive yam culture that Steve McDonald and you have done to Jamaicans abroad, that them just waiting for yam to drop. Because it's not something you make in a factory.
So why we can't get the investment?
So why we can't? that was my next question.
Ronnie, I need to ask you, why can't we know, say, to the investors who are waiting to go out there, man? The land is there.
Mm-hmm. You know what happened?
Yam head is available. When you were minister, they brought on a new formula of growing yam.
Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
What happened to it?
It wasn't taken up. People are very traditional. But Steve, Irwine, Pearnel, my suggestion, just a simple suggestion, would be anybody who came to Mr. Charles Jr. and asked for a license to import, whether it was onions or pepper or anything else, yes, any commodity, I would say to them, listen to me, I'm going to be so glad to offer you a license, but the condition is that you invest in local production of an equivalent amount that you want to bring in, so that you can make more money in the long run, so that the farmer can make more, and so that we can earn more for Jamaica and better satisfy the likes and needs of a person like Yaad Market in Toronto.
Of course, and increase the eating culture.
Sure. So I heard the minister. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I was saying, in addition to that, and you mentioned, and I'm thinking of the recent thing about the onion situation. I think when we're charging duties, we need to, I think it's folly, just using the onion situation where, and even potatoes, but any agriculture produce where it's coming into the island at a lower price, it's imported to the island at a lower price than our farmers are able to produce their own local production, whatever that is, even if it's inefficient production. And that is where, if we're going to be charging, we should be charging duties, and then using those money from that duty to create these storehouses.
No,
we have to remember.
Hold on, wait a minute, friend. That's dangerous.
Agricultural industry is in that we have a lot of small farmers, and this is where we need those major type of government should help in those infrastructure development. It's similar to the mango wash that we know of now. So now our mangoes can't go to the US, as we're being told, because the washing facility is not there, and they're now infested with fruit flies.
I didn't know that. That's bad news. That's breaking news, and that's bad news.
That was it reported in Parliament by the opposition.
I did not follow that.
Cousins.
I did not follow that
as part of his presentation. But the washing thing that we've known for about almost 30 years that the U.S. requires a special washing.
Yeah, and we know how to do that.
Right.
And therefore
why don't we invest in the machinery as the government, and then create mango orchards, which Mr. Siaga talked about from, when was it, in the 1980s, in terms of orchards?
You don't understand I can't say, let me withdraw that. It's not that you don't understand. The entire financial sector in this country, as well as the state sector, do not rate agriculture as being a source of economic advancement and making money. And therefore, what we do is to put our money in high-rise buildings, which earthquakes soon knock down, God forbid. Yes, rather than in the ground. This continues the discussion, Irwine Clare, that we had with Minister Bartlett in Barbados last week. Yes, where we could add so much foreign exchange to a trembling dollar right now. Yes, if we only provided more food than the 1.8 billion US dollars that we are importing now, largely for the tourists.
Which will be increased significantly based on the projections of hotel rooms that we are expecting.
Not to mention the export
I want to hear all of you stop the talking.
Yes, sir.
And give us some action.
No, but I can,
You said to me.
And you too.
Here is a country.
Yes.
Here we have ambassadors like Irwine Clare, Steve McDonald, all over the place, begging us that they're waiting on containers. We need not only investing in money, but in leadership.
Let me tell you.
Why can't we
tell you a story?
Yes.
Steve, Irwin, about 12 years ago, I wanted to expand a particular venture that I was, agricultural venture that I was in, along with others. I needed $10 million worth of credit. Yes? It was impossible to get it from any of the commercial banks. Eventually went to the Agricultural Credit Bank, PC Bank at the time. It took the personal intercession of a man named Roger Harold Clifford Clark, yes, now deceased, that was able to give that. And one had to put up 2 beach lots as security, 2 prime beach lots as security for $10 million. The financial industry is not interested in agriculture.
You know why? Steve has just told us. Because you have a government that when John Brown walk inside there and say, I want a license for bringing yam from Costa Rica, from Australia,
coffee from Colombia,
and this, and write Jamaican name on it, then get the license. Now, if you don't do that, you lose power.
Well,
the politics come in.
Pearnel takes it back. He's a reductivist, you know. He takes it back to this situation. Steve McDonald, what are the things that we need to be producing that you can sell, or others can sell, that will boost Jamaica's image and their foreign exchange?
Honestly, anything agricultural. I even see people are buying bado leaf up here.
Bado leaf.
Bado leaf, right? Banana leaf. Even banana leaf. So anything agricultural. And so what is happening, as I mentioned, for the things that we have coming up, we're pricing ourselves out of the market. And so our stuff are no longer competitive. I give you yellow yam, which is a staple.
Yes.
People are now buying. Some Jamaicans have to buy yellow yam on special occasion. Now, even though it's something that they eat regularly, yam that they eat regularly, so they will have a yam meal probably Saturday or Sunday. But they have to have that yellow yam for special occasions. So what is happening now is that they're buying their yam is coming from, the yam that they're buying is actually coming from Africa, right? So we're having that type of situation in that what is coming in at very high prices. And sometimes what you get, you don't get the value for money. I saw some Julie mango recently, and they were very extremely small, and I actually was on the phone with someone and I showed them the picture and I said, no sir, you can't buy that. And they were at high prices, and the stuff from other areas were actually selling for less from other Caribbean countries. So we need a total reset, and that's why I'm happy that a company like Grace have inserted themselves into that conversation. We need a total reset in terms of what we have happening and the governance that is taking place. I was on a call recently for JBDC, and they were telling people, oh yeah, plant yam, plant this, plant that. But nobody is saying, okay, what is the market that is out there? Right? And how do you get it to market? One of the other things in terms of when our products reach here in Toronto, an importer actually took me into his warehouse and showed me what came in, and he showed me some boxes. The boxes are broken down and when they finally reach, and he showed me the boxes from other countries, like the mangoes. The mangoes were in, if you consider an egg crate, almost like an egg crate with dividers. And then they were packaged with a foam package around each mango. Our mangoes, similarly, boxes broken down, all thrown in there. So by the time them reach up, as we said, them butter bruise. But you know, and that was the same thing for avocado.
But hold on, because the things that you're mentioning here now has nothing to do with our productivity, with the production of the product here now. It's how we market and package it. So some of the things you're mentioning here, and I hope those who are listening, our manufacturers association and our exporters, because we are probably damaging ourselves and the product and the cost of the product in the way that we handle them. Because here in New York, I can safely say that the interest and the habit for things Jamaican and product Jamaica is still very high, even with the high costs. You know, so it's not because technical is a captive audience, because when all is said and done,
it won't always be.
Yeah, I know, but products out of Jamaica, the target markets are Jamaicans in the diaspora and friends thereof. I am saying this is that I remember a couple of years ago, and I go back to that mango situation, where I think it was the first time now mangoes were able to be brought into a New York area. And we had persons who are setting up themselves on the side of the street because they cut out the middleman and went directly to market. It was humongous. I don't know what has happened since then. It seems as if we are forming a formalized process.
You guys have created the culture for mango Jamaica, banana Jamaica, yam Jamaica. And guess what? Because of the time that they come in, the seasonal time, sometimes you can't get it. So the rest of the world, from Africa to South America,
even those times, sir, even in those times, you're not still getting enough.
Okay, so let me.
Before you move on, let's just address the timing. So we know that there is an annual demand, right? So two ways to have it resolved. One, we look about the storage facility, and then we create greater production. But to be honest, the production is not there to fulfill that annual demand anyway. So even if we're going to be building those storehouses and those cold storage, we wouldn't have anything to store in there. Because if you take, for example, the onion situation, Jamaica is only producing 30% of the total onions which are in demand. So and if you look at the demand for mangoes, when mango go to the US, none goes to Canada, none goes to the UK, right?
Well, look at it.
So we don't have enough to supply those demands. But look at it from another perspective.
Hold on, Steve.
Why not?
Hold on, Steve. Hold on. We need to take the break. When we come back, Jeffrey Hall of Jamaica Producers is quoted in the Jamaican press this morning as hoping to double that company's juice market in Europe over the next 5 years.
Great.
It's not Jamaican juice in Marcel, you know. This is a Public Eye with the open mind, joining with Irie Jam. We soon come back. Love the theme. This is a Public Eye and the Global Connection Hour with Irwine Clare at Irie Jam in New York and Steve McDonald from Yaad Market in Toronto is our guest. My view is you have to twin the import license with the investment in local production. All right. I don't know how much more storage space we need. We have the Agricultural Marketing Corporation building on Spanish Town,
which is vacant, right?
Largely, and it has been there, and it has been promised to be reopened for God knows how long. We have more car and truck on the road than John know about. Yes, we could forget about the bauxite industry, you know, if we were producing enough food for ourselves, for the export market, and for the tourist trade, and for the school feeding.
Indeed, you know, Ronnie.
Boy, look at the virtuous circle that is.
That's right, because I share a part of the circle with you. Chief Executive Officer of the company we're talking about Caribbean Food Delight, Sabrina Sang, announced that the company will spend US $17 million to upgrade.
Yeah.
All right, and it will be now 15% increased production. What we're talking about, Jamaican beef patties, which means that peppers, thyme, scallion, all of that. Yeah. Opportunity. Yeah. Opportunity.
What'd you say, Steve McDonald?
We lost the strain of the Scotch bonnet pepper a few years ago, and we had to go outside to try to find to get back the strain. So, you know, this just shows how serious we are about these things. Pretty soon we will have the Jamaican Scotch bonnet pepper coming from Trinidad or elsewhere. And, you know, that's or even from Florida. So that's where we're at.
What we're going to do? The government doesn't appear to. Well, there's no radical change in agricultural policy. The budget doesn't reflect that. We have a very lively and upfront minister, and he's trying. But the critical thing is that he cannot appear to induce capital into agriculture, and that would need a change of monetary policy. It would need a different approach to whether it is a tourist sector or any other sector of the society towards importing policy. We are stuck in a rut of our own making. And as we joyfully continue to be miasmic and malnourished, what the hell am I?
We are stuck in something. We had sugar because the big man in Jamaica had big cane fields, right?
Yes, sir.
We don't have 600-700 small farmers with half-acre hillside land.
So
right? We still have lands down there. Where are the big investors?
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Siaga had the idea of Agro 21.
Yeah.
What happened to that?
No, Mr. Siaga started Agro 21.
What happened to it?
And you and I know what happened to it.
No.
A portion of it. A portion of it. It never followed up by the others.
Well, why not?
Because it doesn't support the politics of the
but you know, gentlemen, one of the things there.
This argument is circular.
It is. If we keep looking at the trend, not the past, I won't say that. Looking at the whole tourism situation, as you know, that's where government has put a whole lot of its investment and opportunities for Jamaica. There's a possibility there, if it is properly managed, that they can use that to enforce or to cause more actions in the economic side of agriculture, because the consumption level there is rising and people are coming to Jamaica because they want a taste of Jamaica. And if the taste of Jamaica is going to be re-imported from the country just mentioned, it's not going to work.
And what about the rest of the Caribbean? And the same potential?
The same situation.
Yeah.
The same situation, because the rise in folks coming to, if we're talking 5 million people and we're at 4 million now, for argument's sake, there's a lot more opportunities there for our agriculture. Is there a possibility, Ronnie Pearnel Charles, that the industry, the tourism industry, could be the catalyst to light fire under whoever posterior is necessary to make decisions and to pivot?
When I heard you last week with the very active Minister of Tourism, that we have that 60% of what is needed in food for the hotel industry has to be imported.
Or more.
And you have just touched a point. When a man leave the cold areas of Canada and drop in Jamaica and him drive up to a little fire down in Manchester, and yet him can get some round leaf yam. And father used to tell him about it. In other words, we can maximize dollars, Canadian, pounds, US by feeding the people what they want.
Sure.
But the investors are not there. Small farmer, cannot do it.
But the government that we have is fostering the investment of money in 17-story buildings on Belmont Road.
I am not sure it's government money.
No, it's not the government money. That is the environment that we place. One minister told me anywhere come.
We have an environment in which we say you put your money where you can get more money.
The market cannot guide us in this regard.
Steve, go ahead, Steve.
Gents, so just thinking about the tour, I think we need a paradigm shift in the agricultural space. But just coming to using that same tourism argument now, and Sir Charles mentioned about private investors and so forth. Now I'm looking at that and I'm deciding to get into it. Now I plant a significant amount of onions, and at the same time, or even potatoes, at the same time when I'm going to sell into the tourism industry, I realized that government just gave someone a license to bring in onions and potato at a significantly reduced price in terms of what I'm able to sell. So we're going in a circular motion, as Sir Thwaites said. We can't be at one stage asking people to invest. Money is fluid and money is going to go wherever it's going to make the most profit. So me as an investor in the quickest time frame, I'm going to look at it and say, does it make more sense for me to plant or to get an import license? And that's where I'm going to go as an investor. So we can't set up at the same time, say that we want the investor to go in this direction and be a farmer, but at the same time we're creating an atmosphere where he's going to be defeated, or the farmer is going to be defeated, and that's the crux of the matter from that regard.
Ronnie just said it a while ago. If we could say to the investor, look here, we're not going to allow you to bring in tons and tons of food from other countries. We have a development process in which you can get money to go into our lands so that you can send away food.
And whose decision
Where are those investors?
Whose decision is that, Mr. Charles and Mr. Thwaites?
Mr. Thwaites.
That has to be a policy decision.
There you go.
And the investors are there, Mr. Charles. The investors are the ones who are bringing in the 70% of the onions that we need. They're the ones that are bringing the bulk of the potatoes that we need. Investors are there.
I am not comfortable with that statement, because I'm worried about those who are bringing in food from abroad to fill their storehouse in Jamaica. They are not prepared to go down to Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth and work with the Jamaican farmers and say, listen, you put in 20 acres for me, you put in 40 acres, and help them to fill their storehouse.
So why
it
should
is cheaper to bring it in.
So why should they be allowed to bring it in if they're unwilling to invest in their own country? And the reason is that we feel that the Minister of Finance has been very clear that these are market decisions, and we run a market economy. And in my view, we will run a market economy, and half of the people will starve, and the rest of us will be Erasmic.
But we can't run a market economy at the same time want these privileges or want these things.
It doesn't mean that we have to have a status thing where the government owns anything, but the government has to exert. This is a deep philosophical question. For me, it's a theological question, because the resources of the earth are not for people to exploit for their own selfish ends.
And I hear somebody calling now to say to you, I must ask you, they are willing to do the investment. They are investing. But somebody is willing to get somebody to fill another storehouse, bringing in the same product.
There has to be a guiding hand, Pearnel.
We cannot survive with that.
That's the point that I'm making.
There has to be a guiding hand.
We can't have it. We can't.
Both ways.
I believe your son wants it to be, but he's not getting the support he needs. And the proof of that for me is what I see in the big yellow book for the budget. Yes, where we are still running an agricultural system as if it is a matter of peasants dealing with the market. Look how many. Look at the sugar estates, the sugar lands. Look how long they've been idle. Come in,
idle. That's right.
And Mr. Shaw told us when he was Minister of Finance, I think, that he had more applicants than he could count
for
those lands. The lands sit down there.
And where's the bamboo?
Land.
Where's the bamboo industry, which was a game changer, gentlemen?
Pity.
I have to run, but before you go, gentlemen, and I welcome our friend from Toronto in this discussion here today. Whilst leaving Barbados, the airport, I want to say congratulations to Taylor Lynn. Something I don't see in Montego Bay was Island Grill. And let me tell you, it felt good. I hope very soon, gentlemen, and we've had this discussion before. Yes, Island Grill is in Kingston, but we need to see Island Grill in Montego Bay. Until next week, gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much.
I'm surprised to hear they don't have a branch there.
I heard that she has made an application.
We're glad that it's in Barbados. Thanks, Irwine. Good to have you.
Congratulations. You did a fantastic job over there with you and Ed and the others.
Oh, by the way, hate me now, but I got a selfie with Mayor Motley. Have a great day, gentlemen.
Too bossy. Steve McDonald, don't lose heart, as Irwine Clare leads us. The information that you have and the taste and desire and aspiration of the Caribbean people to get their own produce, particularly from their homeland, we ought to try and meet that. It isn't going to remain constant. People will get accustomed to the African yam in the red pea soup. And we have to make sure that we're standing up to that. Keep on the pressure. You hear? Steve McDonald has left us, from founder and president of Yaad Market. But I make it sound simple. But surely, we need to. There's nothing preventing us from, barring natural disaster. We have the resources, we have the science. The logic is clear. Why can't we do better in producing food and agricultural products?
The right persons are not interested in investing in that, as you said, right? The sugar lands are there, Steve.
A final word from you, Steve.
I think
go ahead.
We certainly need to set the right framework for investors. We can't be at one stage asking investors to come in and then at the same time exposing them to people who are able to just bring in imports and then freely allow them to undercut the market. The other thing that we also need to do is, coming back to the article, we need to look at GMO to see how we can
genetically modified products
right through the year, so we can have constant production. You briefly touch on sugarcane. We're getting sugarcane here from China, which is taking over whatever sugarcane that we had, the liquor that we had coming in from Jamaica.
Ribbon cane coming from China?
Yeah, we're getting sugarcane here from China.
Eating cane.
Right? In Canada.
Coming from China.
In Toronto. So I'm saying that there is a need for our produce, but we need a paradigm shift in our mindset where agriculture is concerned.
We're creating it here.
And the small
with your
farmer
help.
don't have a clue in terms of, okay, the seed that they have is 40-year-old.
We'll have to discuss that another time. Yes.
We need leadership. And we have, as I said, we have to be cognizant of our industry. We have a lot of small farmers.
Gotta go, Steve.
And that is where government will have to come in and provide that leadership.
Thanks so much for your care for this program and for your sense of patriotism and economic viability for our products. Steve McDonald of Yaad Market in Toronto. Taking us up to the break. After the observances and the government programming, the public eye will be back. Join us. This is the Public Eye on the Bridge 99 FM. The Honorable Pearnel Charles is our co-host. And later on in the program, this hour, we join Dennis Chung, the Chartered Accountant and Secretary of the Football Federation, to talk about the increases in parliamentary and municipal elected officers' salaries that were announced yesterday by the Minister of Finance. Some of the increases are all 250%. Well, we'll talk about that then. Another issue that arose this week, though, that I wanted to contend with my co-host on, was the issue of climate change. Mr. Guterres, the United Nations gentleman, Secretary General, he raised that in his discussions with Mr. Holness, and it's been otherwise featured in the international press. I don't think Jamaicans are fully aware of what of what is coming.
What is likely to come.
Yes, sir. And which is irreversible. Now, we don't have the biggest voice in the world, but we do have a strong voice, And it's we can't be said. Two things can't be said of us. One, we haven't been backward in taking our positions, our places, and secondly, we contribute very little to carbon emissions. Yes. But I really have a deep resentment when somebody else who wants me to respect them and to be open to them and to be grateful to them for other things is by their action and by their inaction hurting me, and I'm not noticing it. I'm saying welcome and nice and so on. We really can't have that, What do you think?
Because there are many ways of maintaining that superior position in life.
Exactly.
And one of the way of maintaining that superior position is to look small like you.
Uh-huh.
You understand me? Come down on your foot. Yes. And then it's bigger superiority,
Yes.
So when you come down here, hug me up and dance with me.
Uh-huh.
And then they say, Lord, man, look, the man come and talk to you. The man come and talk to you and him dance with you.
Yeah.
But then God nice man, but he gone back.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Listen to this one carefully. You know, one of the reasons why I don't accept apology easily.
Yeah.
My father told me of two friends who gather at a Saturday evening, like a place where they play calypso and thing. And one man said a man to come there, boy, him have a big contour, you know. We're going to mash it on him and watch him, and when the man comes, step on the man cart, him have to lie down. Oh no, I apologize. And he cry with the man and rub him back. And that I said, too many things happen in this country that we're apologizing for. Too many things that we need to do, we don't do it. And the reason we don't do it, we're either fear or we don't want to hear what anybody going to say about we. Now, all me know, you know, I pass through my, what I say, hell.
Yeah.
Burn off all the hair.
The valley of the shadow of death.
But guess what happened? I survived.
Yeah.
And with respect.
Yeah.
Because I've challenged Jamaicans and the world. You know anything about me that bad? Call somebody and tell them, call me. I never beg a tire. I never get a $5 worth of rum. I don't drink. I never go into a bar. I never smoke a ganja. I never light a cigarette in my mouth. Follow me? And a man said, what you never do? I said, well, we do something. I'm not saying that I'm clean. But I can tell you, you find a man in Jamaica to say that this Pearnel Charles here was dishonest in his duty presented to him as a minister for my 5 different terms. Minister of Labour, Minister of Local Government, Minister of Labour 2 times, Minister of Public Utility 2 times, Minister of, and Speaker of the House, coming from Macedonia. You find a man to tell you that I have not been honest and make him tell you what I do.
Well, that's to your credit that you can be clear on these matters.
And not only clear, I'm challenging them.
Okay, well, I think
I'm investing what I have now in them to come before me and you and say, remember the time when I buy you a tire? So remember the time when I get an envelope? Come and tell me that.
So what is the lesson for the country now from that example? Because you are an exemplar.
You can survive without that running.
Yes, good. That's a point
in
I
fact,
wanted to hear.
when the man said, but how you running to it? It was in a politics. I said, you know why? We went in there to help others, not to help ourselves. And in doing that, we survived.
Yes.
We survived.
Yes.
Ronnie,
so
Ronnie, you were a little better than me, you know. Because guess what? Don't you wear shoes go to school?
Yes, sir.
Eh?
Yes, you never.
When 2 toenails buck out with my father say, walk on your heel. Well, you must go to school. Parents today, Ronnie, will not say that to their children.
So let us pause on that example and let us say, how are we going to go? You can't not go back, but how are we going to go towards a mentality that sees that kind of sentiment, that the essentials are provided and the bling is optional?
You want me to tell you how?
Yeah.
There's one and only one way, Ronnie. Parents.
Okay. So
if we don't.
So pause me there, sir.
Yeah.
Right now, when we look at our culture, what we promote and what we
you're on the right line.
We lego. Are we encouraging people to be responsible parents? I think it's happening. I see more men helping out with their children now than before in the schools that I go to. But at the same time, the culture of family in Jamaica.
But let's hear the next one, Ronnie. There are 2 major planks in the development of every child in this country. A teacher and parents.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right teacher who going to grab you, hold you, help you, squeeze you, back you up when others gone, when you, not all of us speak like you, Ronnie. A man said to me last week from Red Hills, boy, I read Mr. Thwaites, but I could hardly understand half I think because the word them big too much. So I make him put some small word in there.
Oh, Lord, a shame.
My radio is one, and say, I read him in Mr. Charles, but some of the words, them big too much. I must put some small words for me to understand.
Tell him thanks, we're going to try.
I said, I'm going to tell him I need
Yes, sir.
He said,
Thank
I
you.
want to make you hear. So, no problem.
Yes,
but to get back to what you're saying, Ronnie.
The teacher and the parents.
Teachers and the parents are the two major planks to start the children of this country, to take them out of the gangs, to put them on the road to a profession.
So what are we doing that is going to that is encouraging that? We are still dealing with probably close to 20% of our children being born to teenage mothers. That means that they're, and you notice all of the stories of triumph or the stories of despair that you hear in the press and see on the TV, yes? You seldom hear anything about the father. It's the mother carrying the weight. That to me, that is very, very significant.
I don't know about you, but when I was there, and they have a parent-teachers association.
Yeah, plenty.
90% of women.
Sure.
And the father is not there.
Okay, so
now, if mine ever have my father.
Me too.
If I'd ever have a father, sometimes my mother said, take it easy with them now.
Yeah.
Why are you roughing them so? Because I want them to come to Sinting.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want them coming like me.
So what are we saying now?
I am saying to you, Ronnie.
What should we be saying and doing?
Our teachers are not. Teaching is not a place you find a job.
It's a vocation.
If it's like in the security, those two places. If you are not dedicated, because you can't pay a teacher. A teacher cannot be paid
but you have
for what they're. You have to give them what they can stand, survive on, and do the job that they're going to do.
But then, fine. In one of the very good schools that I am connected with, we lost 2 teachers last week.
Yes.
One of the very competent teachers that I know came to me at my church last Sunday and said, "You're not going to see me for a while, you know. Where are you going? Are you going off early for the summer or something?" "No, I'm migrating. I didn't tell you, but I'm going to Winnipeg in Canada." "Why are you going?" "Well, I want to do this, do that, and they're offering me a package that I couldn't refuse."
Yeah, but Ronnie, let me say this.
How do you replace that now?
Well, let me tell you.
I can find a teacher to put in her place.
Yeah, but let me say this to you. Replacing that teacher, or what the teacher is looking, is not the only way to make a teacher, you know.
No.
Because the teachers who take me and rub them hand on my rough head and say, "I'm going to bust your head and put education if you won't study, you know. I'm going to cut your head and put it in it." They could have gone too.
Yes.
They could have left because that time it was easy to go up on the boat. So there are teachers today who are not dedicated to the profession.
How do you build the national spirit to a point where people are willing to say, "Look here, I have got an excellent education in Jamaica. I've got it largely at very low cost, if not for free. I don't believe in free education. It doesn't exist. Somebody pay for it. But the public of Jamaica have invested. I'm going to at least give 5 years in the teaching profession as a payback, and then I can go and roam the world and go to Winnipeg or wherever it is that
you and I had already decided.
Where is the policy that is saying that?
If we were planning the policy right, and say, "Look here,
so when you're shuffling,
we're going to make you go free." But you have to give us 8 years.
When you shuffle in the cabinet, that is what I'm interested in finding out. You know, how are we doing that way, so that we can say, all right, now we're really building back the national spirit. Where is we know the teachers, just pause on them, are migrating. What is the policy of the country right now to encourage more people to become teachers? Where is that?
But you touch a right point, because to be honest with you, the amount of high schools we have in Jamaica, and the amount of spare time, not from 9 to 4. Those are out. We could be training enough teachers that They could be migrating. In other words, if we were doing the proper training, like where you were, and set the stage for what they're to do, we would beg some of them to leave because we don't have space for them.
So we need
right now we don't have enough teachers to fill the space.
Secondly, we go back to the parenting, the other notable influencer in human behavior. I wonder why my microphone is tripping out. Where are we saying this is the standard of parenting? That this historical tradition, however caused, cannot help you. My view is, if you want to mash up your own life, that is a shame. But if you're mashing up another person's life, notably a child, that is a worse sin.
Ronnie,
yes?
let me remind you one thing. Some parents cannot make the contribution that is necessary. Mm-hmm. Some parents are not educated sufficiently even to, other than bring the child to school to give to somebody. So therefore, there is a place where we can start.
Right.
Start in the schools.
Yes, but then...
Let me tell you one thing that struck me over the weekend. When I was going to school, the headmaster was in charge of the school. He was a man.
Yeah.
But we have some women now just as good as men.
Sure.
So therefore, if there's a problem in the school, why do I have to bring in a union?
Yeah.
Don't the headmaster know every boy that is not David himself because the teacher take him to the master?
Yeah.
Don't the headmaster know every teacher that is not getting appearance right?
Which union is coming in? The Teachers Association?
Eh?
The Teachers Association. Which union you speak of?
Yes. But the point, hold on, I'm not saying anything wrong with that. But what I am saying, I don't hear the headmaster having the principal
because
having
one
the
reason,
authority that reason. My teacher used to have.
There's one reason that many of the principals feel that they are overridden by instructions coming from the Ministry of Education. Now, I need to be clear on this. In law, and in the kind of practice and history that you are mentioning, the principal is in charge of the school, and the ministry must help us best
you mean now?
Yes, in law.
So hold on, let me ask you a question. A teacher pay wasn't right. There are 7,000 teachers. There is no other place in the world where you could have one place in charge of 7,000 teachers. Follow me? So therefore, every headmaster should be in charge of him school and him teachers. So if there's one teacher who would pay never right, he should have that access to the Minister of Education or the Ministry or the place out in Old Harbour. You divide the school in 3 or 4.
Sure.
Well, listen, man, it is there, but it is not being used, right? You cannot have 7,000 teachers reporting to the Ministry of Education.
It's not 7,000.
It can't work.
It's 30,000. Is Dennis Chung on the line?
30,000 what? Teachers?
Teachers, yes.
30,000
yes, sir.
that are running. You want to tell me?
I don't know what your signal means. Yes or no?
They are divided into schools. They are divided into schools. So those 30,000 teachers are under the leadership of the principal, whether it's a man or a woman.
No.
And you should be in charge of your school and your teachers.
Well, what has happened, as I think you know, and certainly our listeners will, is that there has been a centralizing over many, many years. And while the principal remains the chief controlling officer, the fact is that many decisions regarding financing, regarding remuneration, are not in his or her purview at all. And in fact, what is happening is that a lot of the responsibility that your principal had years ago, mine did, in a different context, has in fact been eroded.
So if one teacher pay wasn't right, and you have 30 teachers in a school, and one teacher pay wasn't right, the headmaster is not the person who take it to that special place and say, why we have to use it to mash up the whole teaching profession.
I don't think we're doing that, but that's another thing. Dennis Chung, welcome.
Hi, how are you doing, gentlemen?
I'm fine, thanks. We are fine.
Dennis, how you doing?
I'm good.
You're going to make a contribution to Ronnie and myself as former parliamentarians.
Dennis, tell us how you feel.
Pearnel, I hear that Ronnie's asking for it retroactively.
Yes, you have to do something retroactive because we drop bad, you know.
Dennis Chung, Pearnel and I were just remarking, when I left ministerial responsibility, my gross pay was somewhere in the region of 3-point-something million. No? And now the incumbent is going to be getting between over 3 and 4 times that. I don't have red eye at all. It's the most difficult job one could ever have. But do you think the level of increases are appropriate? That increases were necessary. I had risen in Parliament and posited for the longest while. They were promised, but now it seems to many that we have fly the gate. What do you think?
Yeah, I have no problem with the increases or in the level. What is most important for me, Ronnie and Pearnel, is the value that we get. So as I was saying to someone this morning, if I pay someone $100 million and they give me a value of $150 million, they are cheaper to me than someone who I pay $5 million and they give me a value of $2 million.
Well, when I read the Minister of Finance's statement yesterday in full, not one word about accountability or productivity.
Yeah, but Ronnie, accountability and productivity has been there. You know. Wait a minute. You know that every Monday morning the teacher, the parents is at your door. You know that. No, sir. No. What I know is that 1/3 of the children are in this country. 2/3 of them are coming out without the capacity. And the reason for that.
And I'm saying that if you're going to I'm saying what I think Dennis Chung is proposing, that if you're going to increase everybody's pay, you have to ask what more am I getting, or the taxpayers simply to pay more because my name is honorable.
I could never object to that, and that has always been Dennis's position, that I'll pay you so long as you can produce.
Let's hear
that.
Dennis.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. The important thing is how much you actually produce, right? That is the important thing for me.
Well, what conditions are and requirements are attached to these increases, which speak to your point, sir?
Well, I don't see that anything has been said about that yet, right? And I want to hear something said about that. So while I agree with the increases, but then I think that there needs to be. How can you
agree to the increases when they lack the essential element that you yourself are proclaiming, Dennis?
Yeah, but I think that I think it would be unfair to not give the salary and then and ask for the accountability first.
Because you see,
I think that we can give the increase and at the same time put the accountability framework in place. So which is why I'm saying that we need to ensure that along with the increase that's going, that we have that accountability framework defined to the people of Jamaica and let people know what will be different. It's not just a matter of putting an increase in place, but what will be different from this.
I am with you against Ronnie this time.
Very much so.
Listen to this one clearly. Ronnie, you and I know that what you were getting, you could not finance.
Hold on, Mr.
teachers,
Charles.
the children, the people,
Hear me now.
the community.
That is utterly true. And I stood in Parliament, and everybody has kibbled them out because they were
Pearnel
waiting.
Charles did not back you.
No, and neither did anybody on the government side, nor many on the opposition side. That's the truth. Yes, but that's this is not a personal thing. Dennis is whistling in the wind if he thinks there's going to be any increased accountability or productivity as a result of any of these increases. What it is doing is feeding the notion that everybody in Jamaica, including the Prime Minister, is a sufferer. and that it's a long time we're supposed to get this.
Yeah,
and
no,
now
but
I get
that's
it.
That's because, Ronnie, of the way it has been put out there. I'm saying that people like us who are on these programs need now to start changing the conversation just from the fact that there has been an increase. So what is the value that is going to come from this? What is the difference that's going to come from it? When we have accusations about impropriety, how do we deal with those things? Is there going to be a way that we can now hold persons more accountable in terms of what is the deliverables from ministries? What is the deliverables from parliamentarians? That's the sort of conversation that we need to have.
Wait a minute, though, sir.
Is that
I thought that people like yourself, when you were in your, when you have been and are in your various positions, you would have you're hiring somebody or you're considering a salary increase, a regrading. You would call in that person and say, in return for A, B, and C additional responsibilities or higher production, we are prepared to offer X increased salary. Wasn't that how you would do it?
Yes, that is how you do it, and that's what I'm saying. We need to make sure that that framework is in place for this now.
Hold on, Granny. And hold on, listen to this. I am the trade union in this.
Yeah.
So I come and let you know that what I have been doing over the last 10 years, I have not been properly paid.
Yes, that's it.
Hold on, and it's a fact.
Yes.
Right? After the, when I have
Hello,
to...
the security guard said the same thing, you know.
No, but the security guard may say the same thing. This is my time to tell you that you have been getting from me.
Yeah.
And when I go to someone and what the man asks me, Mr. Charles, if we really not get anything, why you stay there?
No. But that is
okay.
But no, it's not the same though, you know, because this is a case where we who are in government, yes, are giving ourselves that which we say we deserve and probably do.
And sacrificing our family too.
Without any addition to productivity or any targeted, delineated addition to productivity, and we are using money from people who do not have any option to do the same.
I can chop you.
Oh my God! Dennis, tell me about that one.
Just before you come, let me ask you now. You tell me what other productivity you could do if your pay was higher, if you were getting even 50% of what has been announced.
Yes. So what?
In fact, you have been giving away more than you've been getting.
The problem, Pearnel, is that we have not been getting the productivity that we should have been getting too. That's another argument.
But which one come first? Which come first? I am the union man. I'm the union man, and you are the manager. And I come to I tell you, if you give me some money, if you want me to be a better worker, you have to increase my pay because I've been working hard and hard for nothing.
But Pearnel, the point is that a lot of people do not are not in that position. That you give them more money and they're still not improving it. All I'm saying, you know, is let and I'm not arguing about the productivity that has been happening or has not been happening, right? All I'm saying is that since we have gone the way of now increasing it, right, and increasing it significantly, let us ensure that we have a proper framework in place of accountability to ensure that the returns come back to the people of Jamaica. That is what we need to put in place. And a lot of it has been happening. I said to somebody this morning that even though there's a lot of talk about what politicians do and they don't do, I think there's a lot of accountability on politicians, sometimes more than in the private sector. Because you see that thing, the media and the Integrity Commission and all of those things, what we need to do is understand as a people that we're a part of that accountability framework, and we need to add some formality to it and some purpose to it. But I think that we do have certainly in terms of the media, all of that, a framework we can work with. What we need to do is change the discussion, and that's in many respects what we need to do. Let's change the discussion from, you get 200% more or 50% more to how can we now hold people accountable? which is what we should have been talking about for a long time in this country. Right? Not just that politician do this or a politician don't do that, but we should be saying, okay, you are going to get into this position. What are you going to do for us now? How are we going to measure that?
Well, in
and
fact,
we do have a lot of institutions that can do it.
There's one thing that I want to say to you.
That will not happen.
We have most people in Parliament today are professionals when it comes to lawyers, teachers, doctors, and all of that. And how they survive. And it gives the impression to the little man of Red Hills. Why, if that them not get, they must a thief. They must find some way to survive. Now, we agreed, as I come to the office and I said, sir, you're raising my pay, and now I'm ready to go to work. I'm saying to you, I'm raising your pay. This is what I'm expecting of you, right? So you give me a better pay, then set it out.
So what is expected of cabinet ministers, of mayors, of members of parliament, of councillors, more to justify over 200% increase in
all right,
pay?
let me ask you, who have been one?
No.
What do you think?
No, don't ask me about what I was, what I lost.
No, talk about what you have lost, because you have lost more than 50%. The point that I'm asking, what is it that you think a politician, other member of parliament, can do apart from what he's doing in his constituency that could justify the pay that he gets? Give me 1 or 2 points.
Oh, dear.
Water is fighting for, road is fighting for.
And no, but the fact is that within our system, the member of parliament has very little purview. You know that. Look at the situation in St. Thomas right now. You think the 2 MPs out there wouldn't want to avoid the debacle that the public service is taking place?
That even with the very little that they can do now, they're grossly underpaid.
No, listen, I was the one who raised the motion in Parliament, Dennis. I was the motion the one who raised the issue of health care, yes, where when you leave Parliament, your health insurance lapses at the very time when you are most likely to need it because of what the stresses that you have had there. Don't misunderstand me. I'm in favor of reasonable increases. I do not, however, understand how you can offer 200+% increases in a situation where your minimum wage can't buy food.
Well, because 150% can't buy food either.
And it is their money. It is their money that you are using to pay this 200+%. Sorry?
Say that again, Dennis, we didn't get you.
Hello, have you lost Dennis? If you have, would you get him back for us, please? Perhaps, is it time for a break? I think so, yes. We'll soon be back on the public eye. Thanks very much for joining us on the Bridge 99. We broadcast to the diaspora, the Jamaicans living anywhere, everywhere. Dennis Chung, noted financial commentator, secretary of the Football Federation, and public servant, is our guest. We're talking about the parliamentary and municipal salary increases, wholly per money, that was announced yesterday. So
Ronnie, I understand it's Pearnel caused the industrial action that cut off a call a while ago because he didn't get the money.
Well, no, but hold on, Dennis, help us, because, Pearnel and I, apart from many other things that we hold together, we are both pensioners and we don't hear nothing about the pensioner.
Well,
you want to increase pension? You want to increase pension?
But if all of those who are there were so underpaid that they need this huge top up now, what about you?
No, I thought them all going to say retroactive for 3 years, so we get that.
We're fixing some people who continue to have tax drawn out of our little pension. Yes, glad for it, thankful. Yes, contributed to it too, though, by the way. Nobody give us anything that we didn't contribute to.
Yeah.
We are now contributing to other people's largesse when oh my God, if ever this was unequal and unjust.
Dennis,
help me, Dennis.
Dennis, Ronnie is a capitalist in this, right? I am a trade unionist. Now I'm going to make a presentation. Listen to me very carefully. Right? if you pay me, I will work.
Oh.
If you don't pay me, I go on like I'm working, but I not work.
Yeah.
Okay. So you say, I say, listen now, Dennis.
Where your morals?
This is what I want you to do, and I'm going to pay you. I expect you to do it.
Yeah.
There are many people who like to get into politics, who can make a good contribution, who could not go in with $40,000 because it can't buy a car. It cannot buy a US car. Okay? So now that you put it up halfway, we expect to get some good people inside there.
Yeah.
Who are going to make good contribution. Ronnie, why are you laughing?
Because it doesn't.
You're giving the impression that it can't work.
It cannot work. It will not work.
Well, I certainly believe that, Ronnie. I think that you'll see more people wanting to get into politics. I mean, the money and you know where we need to look at also. We need to improve the level of compensation we give to board members. That I think is important.
Yeah. Yes.
Because you're asking people. So we put a lot of demands more on board members. And I was saying to someone this morning too, there's something that was coming that was actually going to be legislated, and we had to put a brakes on it. Where board members who are really paid just a very small pittance stipend was going to be asked that every year we need to file our personal investments with the government, right? And every single one of my members on the board said, if that comes in, the government will have our resignation the following day.
Yeah, because it's a such threat to their security.
Yeah.
There's somebody look into them to say them teeth in something.
Hold on, no. Yeah. Okay, fine. Dennis knows, and I'm sure Pearnel does, the international pressure for that kind of thing to be done. And there may be local pressures as well. Pearnel and I are still not only affected by a leprosy called a politically connected person, but our families and our children are too,
But listen, I'm affected by it too,
I can imagine. Imagine.
You mean they have
you
labeled?
run for any office.
Every time you're still fortunate because you're not labeled like me.
Well, every time one of my children applies for a financing, deals with a bank, etc., they have to name me as a politically exposed person. Now look at that. So this justifies to me a certain premium in terms of what the reward is. But it is Dennis Chung, the reason why we call you sir is because there is a deep philosophical, moral, ethical principle at stake, and that this country or any country in any situation, personal, corporate, national, you must equate remuneration with output.
Exactly. Right. I agree with you, Ronnie.
And if you do not do that, and if we have not done that in the whole public sector reform, culminating now in what we give to the executive and legislatures, if we have not done that, then we are wounding any effort or any hope of Jamaica progressing and deepening the inequalities, and the person, the security guard who was constrained to sign a contract that signed away everything that the court said he should have, the minimum wage, the BPO worker who can't unionize, is looking and saying, my God, look what them people can do, pose around and say, and see what them give themselves out of me money, and look what me a struggle.
So Ronnie, I agree with you.
You answer me now.
That is the issue that we face. Every time we have looked at increasing salaries in the public sector, whatever politicians, however, we have not looked properly at an accountability system. And that is why we're in the problem that we're in today, right? Because what we do, and this is why we have inflation, we increase salaries without productivity improvements, and therefore that is what you call inflation, right? In this situation, if you're going to increase salaries and there's no accountability defined, then it's not going to make a difference. I mean, I think we'll attract some more people, but the fact of the matter is that if you attract even the brightest people in a culture that is the same, you're going to get the same result.
Well, exactly.
Dennis, Ronnie Thwaites, 5-6 years ago, wanted to look at the role of the parliamentarian and to pay him a salary that could make him perform. I don't know how better he could perform. If that had done from what the man that the cleaner company that died,
Oliver Clark,
years ago, if they were looking at it, we'd have had people who come into parliament who can make contribution, and what? Then again, they're getting nothing.
Yeah,
getting nothing for it.
So Pearnel, I agree with you. I'm going to give you a football example that everybody knows Messi, that our national coach had said. He said, if Messi comes to Jamaica in 2 weeks, he will be an average footballer. The reason for that, he says, is because the field that we have neutralizes any talent that's there. And that's why Ronnie is correct that if the culture and the environment does not change, even if we have the best minds coming in, those minds are going to act the same way. And that is why I've been one, and Ronnie knows that I've been at the forefront of saying parliamentarians must be paid more. But at the same time, we have to have the accountability framework defined, and also we need to understand what is the value added that's going to be created. So one of the things I've always been against is collective bargaining. Why am I against collective bargaining? The man who produces 100 units a day gets the same increase that the man who produces 20 units a day. So guess what happens? Everybody just starts producing 20 units a day.
Yeah, but what's the alternative?
The alternative is that we should have and this is why human resources is so important. We need to have a properly defined framework where we incentivize productivity.
No, I hear you, but we need to have an incentive. Don't tell me what the man on a separate must do to produce so that separate can pay him for what him do. Put it in a book and go and lecture him. Yes, but Ronnie Thwaites in Parliament took over the whole place with the best presentation, and none of them can work. Because what? We don't make it work.
No, so this is why understanding that, putting that framework in place with how it's going to be executed is so important. Human resource management on that side of it is a very difficult discipline, you know, right? But it's something we have to work on to make it work, because if we keep increasing salaries without productivity improvement, we get the same place.
I thought, Dennis, that somebody like the Honourable Dr. Nigel Clark would have understood this, but instead he's operating he has sunk into the system. I mean this without any disrespect. He has sunk into the system and indeed become the chief purveyor of it. What a shame.
No, but Ronnie, with the greatest respect for you, what Clark has said, right, is that some of who, and so are there now, and some of who we need to come, not going to be able to function on what is there. If we want what you're talking about, if we want what our guest is talking about, we've got to pay for it.
No, but no one is denying that.
And you're telling me that
there has to be a connection.
When I see the Prime Minister getting $7 million and the chairman of the committee getting $14 million, and you tell me what to tell me? Rubbish.
No, I'm not suggesting the Prime Minister didn't need more pay.
No, that's not. Listen, the man was getting twice what the Prime Minister is getting. And him is only there to examine me and you.
Well, why did he? Well, no.
It's system.
Yeah, but you see, if you go in the road, Dennis, of comparing, yes, who gets what, that can take you only so far. What I'm anxious is to deal with the simple principle of
what are you going to do for what you get?
And what are you going to do for what you get?
Right. That's the important thing that we need to change the conversation to there. rather than saying
and what we have done and how we have presented it does not address that question, and therefore increases the animosity between people who feel that they deserve and have not got, even though they just got 50% increase. Yes, even although they feel that they're working out their sold case, even if they don't, they skip work twice a week or go there and don't do much. Try and do business with a government department, Mr. Chung. You must know, yes, that they don't. Well, that's another critique in itself. But when persons see increased benefits which they cannot have for themselves, and they're under pressure, and they see those who have the possibility of doing better for them, doing double better for themselves, is that going to be a recipe for social peace and inclusion and a more sense of participation in the country? No. That's unfortunately where we are today. We have put ourselves there.
What do you want us to say there? Because I want us I want us to get
on the contrary.
I want us to get out of there, and the way to get out of there is to pay the people some good money, bring in some good people who can perform at a higher standard, right? And you tell me that you give a man 3 million Jamaican money.
I'm not saying that at all. Rubbish. I'm not saying that. You please don't. No, you wouldn't misunderstand my argument. I'm agreeing with Dennis in respect of the need for a relationship between output and remuneration. That is not what we did yesterday.
Well, I mean,
but then if you give it yesterday,
yesterday was the first step, you know.
Was it what?
Yesterday was our first step. I'm hoping that it was further.
No, it was the last step. Read what the minister said.
Ronnie, you are sitting beside me. You are telling me that you expected parliamentarians to increase productivity before they get paid?
No, I expected a reasonable increase, not one which is so disproportionate to everybody else in the society, except the chairman of the Integrity Commission.
No, but it is going to increase productivity to the standard of what they get.
Oh, you think so?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
at least some of them, and some who want to come in but cannot come in at the standard where it is.
Will
come now.
What a speculation. You agree with Pearnel, Dennis?
Do not make it a speculation.
I think
make it a demand.
It has the potential to increase the productivity.
Yes.
I think that what we need to do is ensure that the potential is realized by what we put in place to accompany this increase.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't focus on the amount, you know, because as I said, for me, it is how much value you add to what you get. And that is what we need to try and measure. That is a system that we need to put in place.
As we part and we thank you, I'm going to encourage you and all of us to think of ways in which we can target and require that additional value in order to justify. But in the meanwhile, I think you have said what we are doing is to satisfy a few and to set teeth on edge in a way that we have seldom seen before.
The first part of what you say, I will agree with you. The first part
I would say to Pearnel and Ronnie, what I would say to the both of you is that when you leave the show today, just go down to the accountant general and line up and tell them you want your money.
I say what?
And tell them we want our money. What futility?
No, but
Dennis Chung, man, you bite your tongue. Thanks so much for the call today.
You can go down there.
All the best.
Young Green said it yesterday.
What?
I forget that I must write up that I'm alive. So I said, hold on, don't send no little pension to me. They say, every 3 months you have to send to tell them you're alive.
Okay.
That is rubbish. After I work 40 odd years.
You're still, well, you can then too, you know, but thank God you're alive.
And come to tell me that I must
Many blessings to you, Mr. Charles, and thank you for your continued liberty, and to Jeff and to LaFane and all the staff here at the Bridge 99. We're grateful, and the public eye to our listeners bids you good day and hopes that you'll join us next week with an open mind.